Are you often overwhelmed by the day-to-day problems that face you during your day? Are you often stressed and anxious and totally overwhelmed with the present situation, fully stressed and thinking that everything is a problem, that life just gives you problem after problem after problem after problem? If that is the case, then in this video I will reveal you a technique to eliminate at least 90% of your day-to-day problems. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about detachment. I'm talking about seeing the bigger picture. But let me explain what I mean by it. We often forget to look at the bigger picture. We are so much immersed in our day-to-day life, in the present moment, that we seem to forget about the bigger picture, bro. We're literally there going to school, maybe
I'm late and I start thinking, oh, what if I'm 5 minutes late and what will happen? Maybe I have to do that uncomfortable thing, or I'm writing an exam and I don't know the response to the question 4, but I knew it, I know I've studied it, and so I start to become anxious and think all about the negative things. Oh no, I don't want to mess up this exam because that could happen and that and that and that.
and we start thinking about all the negative things, or
I'm working on something and that problem comes up and that problem and that problem and that problem.
and I just start to feel anxious and stressed and overwhelmed. So that is what happens to most of people. But by detaching yourself, you will actually be able to control the situation, to control your inner state, and to rationally work on the problems, which very often are not even problems. So how do we do? The technique is basically consists of two things, which are to become aware of the situation and then to ask yourself some very important questions. And so the first step is actually the most important one, because if we miss the first one, we will never get to the second one. And so how do we become aware of the situation? Here I have a simple trick for you, and that is to start to see your life as a theater play. So what you want to do is to think that your life is kind of like a game. You're playing your role, and so you consciously go around and think about what is happening, how you should act, how you should behave, what is happening, why are you anxious, and what is that. So you want to see your role as something detached from you. You want to start observing your role and playing it consciously. And that will actually enable you to do the second step. In situations where you see or where you become aware that a problem arises, or that you start to feel overwhelmed or stressed or anxious, you imagine yourself as if you were in your deathbed. You imagine yourself, let's say at 80 or 90 or 100, who cares? And by looking at your life as a whole, you ask yourself, how would I like to have reacted to the situation? Is it really a problem seen on my life as a whole? And then you just go back to the present and act as you would have liked to when you think about being in your deathbed. By doing that, you will see that 90% or more of your problems will just fade away like that. And that is because most of the problems we have on a daily basis are not real problems. We just create them in our minds. And even if they are problems, they are probably very, very small. And by being detached and calm, you will also be able to solve them much better. So you win either ways. And here I will tell you a secret, bro. Nothing in reality is a problem. Problems are always created in the mind. Nothing is a problem. Keep that in mind. You just make it a problem. That is the reason why in the same situation, a person can see something as a problem and another person just can't see the problem. They are both right. For one, there is a problem. For the other one, there is no problem. And that is because one sees it as a problem and the other one doesn't see the same thing as a problem. And so start living your life with detachment, seeing the bigger picture, asking you these very important questions. And because you have watched this video until to this point, I will give you a pro tip, which is to write down this question. Is this really a problem? Write it down everywhere you can. Hang it up in your room. Write it down on your home screen. Set yourself some random alarms during the day which will ask you, is this really a problem? Or which remind you to play your role with detachment. And my favorite one is to write it down on a small little piece of paper and to have that piece of paper in your pocket every day, so that every time that you remind yourself to, you take it out and you ask yourself, is this really a problem? Or if I were 80, how would I have wanted to act in this situation? And by doing that, you will see that you will start to gain control again over how you feel. You will see that you will become much better at solving problems, and you will see that at least 90% of the things that on a daily basis we see as problems just aren't. And remember one thing, bro, it's normal to not be 100% aware, at least at the beginning, bro. You're just starting out. It's normal to forget that you should play your role, or to forget to ask yourself those questions, especially at the beginning, and especially in the situations where you're most anxious. Those are the situations where it is the most difficult to be consciously aware. But with practice, you will see that you will become much better at it. And as always, bro, remember that today could literally be your last day. So live like it. Make it the greatest day of your life. Wish you all the best.